Hi everybody, I'm Carl with Abt, and in this video we're going to take a look at two of the most talked about TVs of 2018 so far, the Sony A8F and the LG C8. Both of them are OLED sets that offer terrific pictures and intuitive smart features, and either of them can be purchased right here at Abt. We'll put the links in the description below. So, why would someone choose one over the other? In this video, we'll talk about some of those reasons and hopefully help you decide which would work best for you. To start off, we'll take a look at the designs. As you probably already know, OLED sets are generally very thin, and these two are no exception. Looking at the top of the set, you can see that they're both slimmer than my cell phone. As you move down, they taper out more, but the Sony starts a little higher up because of their acoustic glass sound system. And that brings us kind of to the first big difference. Sony uses actuators on their glass screen to produce the mids and highs, and they have dual small subs for the bass. And it works effectively. This is actually one of the few TVs, in my opinion, that you can use without hooking up an external sound system. I still think the picture deserves better sound, but it's not a must. LG's didn't sound quite as strong, but the screen maintains a flatter profile further down the back. Continuing to move down, we get to the bottom, which is where you'll see the pedestals, and they're pretty different between the two sets. Sony has a small profile flat foot that keeps the TV really low while still holding it in place well, and it's easy to set up. The LG has a much wider profile stand, and while I think it looks nice, the width doesn't work on narrower stands, and it was a little more difficult to assemble. We have videos on both stand assemblies that you can check out and kind of see for yourself. We'll also put those links in the description below for you too. Both sets have extremely thin bezels as well, but because of Sony's stand, it looks more minimal. Of course, none of the pedestal details really matter if you're mounting the set on the wall, so it may not even factor into your decision. As far as wall mounting goes, you'd have a hard time telling them apart just by looking at them from the front. Moving on, we'll take a look at the inputs. Each TV has 4 HDMIs, with one having an audio return channel, 3 USB inputs, antenna, Ethernet, and mini RS-232C inputs, as well as an analog AV input. They each also have an optical out for audio, but only Sony has an analog audio output. Not that big of a deal, since I would imagine most people are going to be running a digital audio signal out, but it's something different to note. The Sony also has an IR blaster output, which can come in handy for different install applications where you might not have a direct line of sight to your components. Next up, we'll talk about the picture, and these are both incredible. Sony and LG each have their own types of processors running the show, and both do a great job. In fact, LG actually won Best TV product at this year's Consumer Electronics Show, but I have a feeling it wasn't an easy decision. LG uses their A9 processor and Sony uses their X1 Extreme processor. Personally, I thought the Sony looked better right out of the box, but with some tweaking to both pictures, you can get them pretty much identical to one another. For the purpose of this video, we actually have them both in their cinema modes, just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like on both TVs. The colors look natural, not at all oversaturated, and contrast, which I'm sure is no surprise to anyone, was exceptional. Another thing to note is that at the time of the filming of this video, both of the TVs have HDR10 and HLG. However, LG is the only one with Dolby Vision compatibility. Sony is supposed to be getting it in a firmware update this summer, but doesn't currently have it, so that's just something to note. Motion was good on both as well. Fast action appeared smooth and realistic without seeming artificially enhanced. The next category we'll talk about is the operating systems, and again, this is really going to come down to personal preferences, as both are good. I personally like the LG's WebOS, as I find it just to be the easier of the two to get the hang of, and it seems to run the smoothest, and with their ThinQ technology built in, it now integrates into a smart home really easily. Sony's works on Android, which I'm also a fan of since I use an Android phone myself and have Google products in my home, but it just seems a little clunkier. With faster processors, it runs more smoothly now than it has in the past, but it just doesn't seem as fluid as WebOS. And that, to me, it has a little bit to do with the integration of the TV's remotes, actually. The LG has a pointer that comes up on the screen that you can use to type or navigate to different menus, where the Sony's doesn't. So in those cases where you need to type something, the LG is going to be faster. Voice recognition on both remotes, though, is very good. Each of them was able to navigate to different parts of the TV very easily. So with both pictures being so good, is either of these pedestals or operating systems enough to sway your vote? Which one would you go with, LG or Sony? Make sure you let us know in the comments section. As always, we appreciate you checking out our video, and remember to subscribe so you get updates whenever we post new content.